Hey, what's going on, guys? John Santos, and welcome to this channel where we help entrepreneurs start and grow their business ASAP. Now, in today's video, I'm going to cover a very common question, one that continues to be asked, and that is how to determine the selling price for your product. So make sure you also stick around to the end because I'm going to be giving you guys some free tools and resources that you can also use. All right, let's get into it. Once again, guys, thank you for joining me and thank you for subscribing and watching these videos. Now, I've been getting a lot of requests on this topic in particular, so I finally decided to create a video about it and make sure that if it's still out there and if it's lingering in anybody's mind, then they have an answer to at least start moving the progress forward. Determining a price point for a product can be sometimes difficult. I mean, especially in an industry that products really vary in price points. Like, for instance, if you walk into one store, you might see a shirt that's a simple shirt that might cost like 60, 80, 100 bucks, maybe even 200. And you walk into another with the same style of fabrics or maybe the same style of shirt, and then they're selling them for 35, you know? So, and the same goes for other products such as bags, accessories, or jewelry, watches, whatever it is you're selling. It could also depend, like some bags may cost, you know, a couple $100 while others cost 60 bucks, you know? So it's a very intricate pricing model, a very intricate pricing strategy. So I'm gonna give you guys the different ways that you can price a product and the reasons why you should do either one. I mean, ultimately it's gonna be up to you, but I'm just gonna give you guys the information that you're gonna need to make your decision. Cool, so let's get right into it. First method to determining your price point is one of the most common, and that's based on your cost of goods. So a cost of goods is ultimately like what the product costs you out the door. So say for instance the shirt costs you $5 and the printing costs you $5, you know, then you're up to $10, and maybe the actual packing material and the label and the tags, you know, then you're up to like maybe $12. Let's say a shirt that you ordered is up to $14 by the time you get it ready to sell it to somebody. The cost of goods is then going to be $14. So from there, the typical pricing based on cost is normally 2 times what it costs you to make. So in this example, if your product price point is $14, then you're going to want to sell it for $28. That's the standard KEYSTONE. They call it KEYSTONE pricing of a product, meaning that whatever you get it at, you double it. And the same goes for wholesale orders. So say you were to get a product down to $5, then in order to wholesale it to somebody, you'd have to wholesale it for 10. And then they would, if they're Keystone pricing it, they would sell it for 20. But we'll get a little bit more into the retail side in just a minute. But just so you guys are aware of that, the most common way to price a product is based on cost of goods. But it's not ideally the best method, because if your cost of goods is really high, say your cost of goods is like $30 because you're only making a few, and then you're having the price, and then you want to price the product at 60, but competitors are all selling their product around 40, then you're not going to sell as much. So we're going to jump into that one. The other method to price it is to base it on what the market will bear. So in essence, what it means is you need to figure out what similar products are selling for in the market. So if you have a similar design, a similar cotton blend, a similar clothing blend, if you have a similar bag or similar materials, then you're going to want to price it around what the market will traditionally bear for it. So that's pretty much, say for instance, a shirt is normally costing about $45 for the style that you created, then you could price it at about $45 and still be within a reasonable price point for people to want to pick it up. This isn't considering your cost of goods though. So if you were to buy a shirt for say $25 out the door and you're selling it for $45 because that's what the market will bear, obviously it's not Keystone pricing, but it does allow you to sell products. So that's going to be your balance. You're going to want to kind of figure that part out to really see what you want to sell and what price points you want to put it at. Using that same model, say a shirt did cost you $25 and the competitors in the market is selling it for $45. If you want to differentiate yourself and if you want to actually get more sales based on like stealing their customers, then you're going to want to price it lower in order to sell more volume. With that method, you're really going on a volume play, meaning that you're willing to sacrifice your margins, because if you're selling if your shirt costs you $25 and now you're selling it for, say, let's say $35, you're only making $10 a shirt, but the competitors are all selling it for $45, then you're undercutting them, allowing you to kind of gather those sales, but it's sacrificing your profit margins. And it's not an ideal method to do, but it is a way to kind of get the brand out really quickly and at least get people wearing it and get people talking about it. So to sum it all up, the second method is simply to price it at what the market will bear, or if you want to sell more volume, discount it based on what the market is already bearing for that similar product. And it doesn't have to be shirts, it could be bags, it could be anything else. I mean, if you want to price it around the same price, then now you're competing with all of those. And if you price it lower, then you kind of remove yourself from the competition and you're offering them similar or better quality, and people really get that value. The one thing about e-commerce and retail right now is going on is that people aren't valuing brands as much as they used to. I mean, before they'd be willing to pay, you know, a couple 50, 60 bucks for a shirt, but now that same company had to reduce that price to 35 in order to continue keeping customers loyal, because there's so many products and so many items out there now, and obviously there's the internet and there's ways to shop around and compare pricing, that people are a little bit more frugal than what they used to be. But that doesn't mean that everybody is. In that same traditional second method, you could always go with the higher price point and really differentiate your brand and yourself in order to not be competing with what everybody else is competing at, or sacrifice your margin and sell it for less. So you can go higher price point in the same way, but you really have to bring something unique and different to the table. And that's going to be around your marketing, around the way that you advertise, around the way that your products are made. You really have to differentiate the price points there so people can understand it and people will want to buy into it. So ultimately, the goal for your brand is to move inventory, because if you're pricing stuff really high and it's not selling, then you're not moving product and you're not getting the brand out to the people and impacting the lives of the ones that you want to reach. So the ultimate goal in business is to just find a strategic way to price it and be able to move inventory as you go, day by day. Another method to figure out what price point you should sell at is to go to some of the boutiques that you see your line being in. So some of the retailers or to the boutique stores that are in your area. If you know that your clothing line would look really good in that store, head down to that store, and what you should be doing is start looking around at some of the brands that are in there. So whether they sell whatever brand is in that boutique, start looking at it, start looking at the price point, start looking at how it compares to your product, the feel, the blend, the quality, the way that it's packaged, the way that it's displayed in that store. And then talk to some of the people that are selling it, some of the people that are working there, and ask them like, hey, what are some of the good selling shirts? You know, and then they'll point you to the ones that are really doing very well. And from there, you can kind of see, okay, well, they have this, they have that. And then you can ask them questions such as like, why do you think people are really buying it? And then they're like, oh, this is the best bang for the buck, or dope, this company always has some dope designs, or they're killing it on social media, or they got people behind them, blah, blah, blah. So you're able to get some of the answers that you need in order to, if you are going to offer them your clothing, you're bringing a better game or a similar game to them in order for them to sell as well. So you can get a lot of the information for pricing just by going out to stores. And at the same time, a lot of you may be wondering, well, how do I get into stores, or what's the process, or what do I have to have my products at? So now we move into pricing for a retailer or a boutique store. So the way that that's going to work is they're going to want to sell your product at about 60 to 75% margins, sometimes even 100, but most of the time around 75%. They're going to want to mark it up. So what that means essentially is that if your product price right now is like $10, then they're going to want to sell it for like 30. That's the retail price that they want to get. They might go 35. So what that means for your brand is, in order for you to stay in business and continue selling and moving inventory, at the minimum, you want to keystone what it costs you. So what that means for you is that you need to make sure your shirt can cost $5 and still have good quality, and find a way to get it to that price point. If you can't do that, then you should consider holding off on retail until you can get those margins. Obviously, another way to do that is to just increase your wholesale price in order to make some money on it. But then it's also pricing you out of the competition that would otherwise, the retailer would say, hey, we believe that this will do very well for 35, so we need to get it at 10 or we need to get it at 12, you know? So you really need to like consider that before moving forward with any of that, and just find ways to move some volume in order to decrease your price points. And obviously, as you're selling and you're moving inventory, sometimes you'll want to offer discounts through times that are kind of slower. One thing to be cautious of is with discounts is that once you start giving discounts, the customers that bought during that discount period, it's going to be very hard to convert them to a normal price point. So as long as you're not offering discounts like every single week, because then people are going to expect those discounts every single week, you should be fine. Every once in a while for holiday sales or for, you know, any type of special events, you could definitely do discounts. But just keep in mind that too many discounts, people will start expecting your product at a lower price point and they won't be willing to pay a higher price. And to kind of piggyback off of that is that you could always sell a product for a high price and bring it down to a price that people are willing to pay. But it's very difficult to start it very low and increase your price point afterwards and keep the same customers. So you're going to want to consider that moving forward, is that you can always price it high, sell some units, and then start decreasing it to sell more. But don't price it low to begin with and then start offering it for higher because you want higher margins. It's going to be a little difficult to keep that same customer base from buying again after you do that. And also, guys, as a word of caution, keep your margins in mind. Try never to go really low that you're sacrificing your margins, because then what happens is if there's returns or if there's damaged goods, then what's going to happen is you're not going to have any money to cover that. You could potentially be at a loss and potentially lose a lot of money in the process. So keep your margins in mind as you're selling and as you're discounting and as you're increasing or decreasing price points. Just make sure that you're able to have some margins to advertise, to do marketing, to buy more product, to handle any kind of returns, and just continue moving the business forward. Now, one of the things to really consider is that if you're using the print to order model, such as like Printful integrated with Shopify, as you can see, the price points for their products are a little bit higher than what it normally would cost you to print with a manufacturer. But the thing about their platform is that you're not having to pay for anything without knowing that it's going to sell. So the beauty of using something like them is to really test the designs, the fabric quality, the shirts that you're getting, to be able to market to your consumer and verify that it's something that they want. So yes, your margins will be lower online, so just keep those in mind. Obviously, if your shirts are being priced at 21 and you optimally want to sell them at about 30, then you're only going to make $9 off of a Printful type of platform, probably even less. So you might want to increase it a little bit to at least have some money, but keeping in mind your advertising costs. At the same time, you need to know where your product is going to be priced at. So if it's going to be a $35 type of graphic t-shirt brand, then you need to know that $35 is what you kind of got to stay consistent with. So if you're using the Printful model, then you're going to be sacrificing margins, but once again, it's only there to help you start validating your ideas. And once you have designs that are selling, you could always go lower price point with an outside manufacturer. I can get you the products for about $6, and you just have to order a couple hundred shirts. But as long as you're confident that they're selling, you could really make some margins that way, guys. So once again, it's called being strategic with it, using the tools that are available, and I highly do recommend that you start with Printful and you start with Shopify to get you going and selling online. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to price a product. As you can see, it's a little bit intricate and there's no right answer, and it ultimately is going to rely on what you want to do with your brand. As promised, I do have some offers for you guys. If you haven't already gone over to the website at the startabrandasapwebsite.com through the link in bio, you guys will be able to get subscribed to the 10-step program. But look, it's actually expanded from a 10-step to a multi-step 2 times a week newsletter that will allow you to continue getting new tools and resources before they even come out on YouTube or before I do anything else. Like, everybody on that newsletter gets stuff like the second I think about it, the second that I think is going to help, and then later on I'll create a video about it. So if you want to stay educated with that, I highly recommend that you go and check that out. There's also the free supplier guide on there. So definitely subscribe to that newsletter. It's going to help you guys out tremendously. Trust me, I'm getting emails, I'm getting texts, I'm getting everything. I'm getting so many response from that newsletter list that I gotta push it to you guys to make sure that you're also on it. It's only gonna send out about twice a week, and the 10-step program will be done in about a month. Afterwards, you'll continue to get additional content that's gonna blow your mind and really help you guys continue advancing the cause. Alright, so I appreciate everybody that watched this video till the end. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you guys hitting the like button down below. YouTube likes that people are liking the video, and then they'll show it to more people, so then that way I can get out there. And if you really enjoyed it and you want to go over the top and helping me out, if you could share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, wherever you want to share it, just hit the share button and share it somewhere online. That also helps me get a little bit more views, so we can continue growing this cause and continue helping entrepreneurs start and grow their business. Alright guys, so I appreciate all you do. Once again, as you know, everything here is free of charge, but if you would like to make a donation to the channel to help pay for some of the expenses, the links are down below on that. And once again guys, I'm not pressuring anybody to do anything, but I am pressuring you to move forward with your business. Alright, stay blessed and let's get it. Talk soon. Bye.